My. The things you come across on Facebook. Normalizing in 2026, men actually holding other men accountable instead of high-fiving each other for destroying their families. You know, anyone who knows me personally, knows any of my content, knows I'm real big on holding men accountable. Most men are. The problem with this meme right here is that it came off of a page that was one of those gynocentric pages, woman page. Like, I have never, and I know a lot of men. I mean, I'm a man. I know a lot of men. I have never known of a man high-fiving low-down scoundrels who are mistreating their wife, cheating on them, not taking care of them. That's actually how men built civilization, especially Western civilization. Accountability is not a problem for most men. That's why we have running water. That's why we have a system of laws. That's why we have the police force, the military. That's why we can chop down plants and build houses out of them. Because men, by and large, have held other men accountable for their bad behavior throughout history. This is why there are so many men in prison. When men reach a certain level of irresponsibility and pathology and sociopathy, we put them in prison. Who puts those men in prison? Women? No, sir. No, sir. Other men put those men in prison. Women actually lack the physical ability to put those men in prison. All you have to do, take one look over at the Middle East. In some of those countries where women aren't allowed to drive cars, they're not allowed in many of those countries to leave their home without being escorted by their husband, brother, father, or other very closely related male relative. They can't hold jobs. They have to cover themselves in some of those countries from head to foot, regardless of the temperature outside. You know, and so those women lack the physical ability to rise up against those men who have those sort of standards on them. So when you see societies like we have in the West, where women actually have freedoms and liberty and they're considered to have legal moral agency and such, it's because men held other men accountable against things like that. So this meme like this is coming from a gynocentric page, and it is a solution looking for a problem. It's an example of women on the internet, not all women, but most on the internet who want attention. They want to feel like Rapunzel, let down your hair. They want to feel like they're the beauty and they're trying to tame the beast, or they're wanting Prince Charming to come rescue them, or for whatever reason, they're wanting to posit themselves as some sort of a little fragile little porcelain doll maiden princess who's just been mistreated and abused. Oh, poor little me. Swing low, sweet chariot. And so they come up with stuff like this. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. It gives me something to make content out of. So naturally, we have this lady that popped up there, right? And you know, these women on these sort of groups and stuff, and they'll even do this in real life. Deidre always had issues when we were going to church. She would typically have issues with church ladies who'd want to get together in their little covens, and they'd want to talk bad about their husbands. about whatever, about your husband's being weak or aggravating or not helping enough around the house or whatever. And she would always speak the truth to him and tell them, I don't have a problem with that. See, so she wouldn't be in the sisterhood. See, but most women are. Not all, but most women are in that sisterhood. And here's an example of it. Here's this woman, what's her name? Maya Ellis. I'm sorry, I'm old, so I had to squint a little bit. Maya Ellis, and she's going on and on and on, arguing with somebody. One of the somebodies is actually a woman as well, which just goes to show not all, but most, yes, most. And so she's going back and forth, and so I will point out to you one particular one that she did here, because this always comes up in discussions like this, when there will always be at least one woman to say this. If you come down about halfway on that second comment from the bottom, here she goes. For example, my ex-husband was abusive, a cheater, etc. And topics like this, women love the word etc. because it gives them an opportunity to portray things in a certain light without having to give any details. No details, just etc. Let's just throw that out there. A cheater, etc. Not one man besides my late father has held him accountable. They all know what he did to me, and no one stopped being his friend. That's not how men work, lady. Not stopped being his friend. If I had a friend like him, I would block her. Well, bless your little old pea-picking heart. So I responded to her, and anyone who's familiar with my content can imagine how I responded to her. You could basically sum it all up to say I explained to her that she wanted equal rights. She wanted to be equal to a man. She wanted to be liberated from the control and oppression of a man. She wanted to live her life. She wanted to make her own decisions. She was a strong adult woman. She didn't need no man to be looking out for her or protecting her. She'd get out there. She'd pick her own romantic partner. She didn't need nobody to pick them for her. She was smart. She was woman. Hear her roar. So she picked him, and she married him. She didn't say if she made children with him or not, but that stands to reason. And then he ends up being abusive, whatever that means, because most people, when they hear this word abuse, they think that he's putting 5 of these on her or something like that. But when you really start pressing, most women I've talked to like this, and I've talked to a lot of them, you start pressing them on the details of the abuse. Oh, he talked ugly to me. You know, a husband can refuse to spend money on something the wife wants, and in some states, that's called economic abuse. Coercion is considered abusive. So in the course of a marital relationship where a husband and a wife are negotiating and working out different ways that their marriage is going to work together and what decisions are going to be made, there's all sorts of instances in those conversations that could be presented in court as coercive. Sure is. Unless you just, tell the wife you just do whatever you want to do. And if that's the case, if she just gets to do whatever she just wants to do without any back and forth discussion or anything, well, then why would he even marry her? I mean, that's basically a single woman that he's married to. Anyway. So that's what she says here, abusive, a cheater, etc. So my response was basically, you picked him, darling. And if you're like most women I've talked to who've given this story to me, when you were picking him, wild horses could not have dragged you away from him. I mean, you were warm and you were fuzzy, and this was the man for you, so you picked him. And the response that I hear often from women when I throw that out on them, Well, yeah, but he was a perfect angel. He was a perfect darling when I was dating him. And then once he got me reeled in, well, then he switched on me. He flipped a switch. And that's when he became toxic, they're calling him, abusive, and that sort of stuff. He tricked me. My response to that is always the same. If you're not capable of making adult decisions and then accepting responsibility for the adult consequences, maybe we need to set up some sort of a program or some sort of a system of guardianship for you. That way you have an actual adult who can make those decisions for you, and they can decide who you can spend time with and who you can't spend time with. Because there are two options here. You're an adult. I am woman, hear me roar, so much stronger than before, and know too much to turn back now. Or you're not an adult. And just like any other child, you need someone to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. You need to be protected from your own decisions. I can't figure out any other option there, except what women like this lady seem to actually want. And that is, like adolescents, they want to go out there and make adult decisions and have adult thrills and influence and experiences. But then when it comes time to follow through with the adult consequences, all of a sudden, woe is me. I need another man to come rescue me and protect me from the results of my own decision. I am woman, hear me roar, until my boyfriend or husband does what I consider mistreating me. And then when that happens, I'm no longer a woman. I'm not roaring anymore. I'm like, meow, meow. And I want some man. Not only do I want some man to come rescue me, he is obligated. Like, I've raised 5 children. All right? I made those 5 children. I was obligated to take care of and protect those 5 children. This lady thinks that even though, she wanted to be liberated, equal rights and all of that, when it comes time for this, somehow or another, like with my own children, I'm obligated to come help her. I'm obligated to come rescue her from the man that she chose to sleep with. That only makes sense in the mind of a woman. Not all, but most. So that's what she thinks. I am woman, hear me roar. I'm adult. But when I make a decision that causes me severely uncomfortable consequences, these men around me have a moral obligation. I am entitled to them coming and serving my needs and protecting me from the results of my own decisions. And, asterisk, and chances are very, 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 very through the roof high that as soon as I get liberated from the consequences of my own decision, the next guy that comes along, I'm going to hook up with him too. And those men in my life who rescued me from the last loser, they won't be able to drag me away from him either until I decide that I'm no longer a full-blown adult and I need to be rescued again. That's the paradox these women live in. I am woman, hear me roar, until it doesn't turn out the way I expected. And when it doesn't turn out the way I expected, I am entitled to men in the community. Not even my father or my brother, maybe my first cousin, my male, not even men who actually know me, but just general men in general. By virtue of my Y chromosome, my Y chromosome, I'm obligated to go, care for her X chromosomes. So I'm her personal bodyguard or something. When she don't have enough sense to make sound decisions of her own, somehow or another I'm supposed to be able to come in here. And look, the fact of the matter is, and again, I've had many conversations with women about this subject. The fact of the matter is, there are men in the community who do not know her, who are obligated to go rescue her from her abusive husband. And their phone number, everybody knows their phone number. We learned this in elementary school. 911. Call them up. They'll show up at your house, all dressed in matching uniforms with some flashing lights, and they will haul that man off to jail. Now, the weird thing is, here we go back to the mind of a woman. The weird thing is, it's very, very often, this happens so often that law enforcement people will tell you that the most dangerous call they go on regularly is a domestic violence call, because it is very common for those police to go to arrest the man and the woman freak out and start attacking them to defend the man she called them on. But this chick right here thinks that somehow or another, because I'm a man and other people with Y chromosomes are men, that somehow or another she is morally entitled to my work to rescue her from the consequences of her own decisions. But my Y chromosome doesn't give me any legal authority to take steps to keep her from getting herself back in those same situations. Nope. In this woman's mind, and in the mind of many, 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 many women, men are their knights in shining armor out in the woodshed somewhere, or they're in the walk-in closet somewhere. See, and that's where they stay while she's going out being a woman. I am woman, hear me roar. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, ain't nothing going on but the rent, to the left, to the left, to the left, all that kind of stupidity. But as soon as they find their ass in a crack, they want to blow their little whistle, and them knights in shining armor come running in from the woodshed and out of the walk-in closet and rescue her. And then once she's back on level ground, they got to go back in the closet. They got to get back in the little Christmas tree bag, get back up in the attic or something. Know their role and shut their mouth, because they just rescued her and now their life's a little bit better. So now they're a full-blown adult again. I don't see how that math adds up. So that's basically what I told this gal. And then she says this. My. The way some men talk about women online is exactly why many women feel unsafe speaking about their experiences. The whole post on this group, from the beginning of this meme up here, all the way down to here, well, even further than that, is one big, fat, hairy bashing of men. But that's fine, see. Equal rights don't exist in a woman's mind, I guess, because it darn sure didn't exist here, see. So this whole thread on this group is about man bashing, but how men are not doing enough. Now, most men are happy to do enough, but it's going to mean things like repealing the 19th Amendment and reinstating the patriarchy, reinstating the rule of the father. That's what patriarchy is. And then getting women back in the homes on the home front where their natural personality proclivities are best used. See, that's what it's going to take. But no. They don't want that. They want to be out there, living equal to men, except when it comes to to the part about standing on their own 2 feet and enduring the consequences of their own bad decisions. When that happens, oh no, I'm just a little lady. I'm a little maiden. The way some men talk to women, we're equal. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you just like I would another man, right? Isn't that what y'all want? To some women online, it is exactly why many women feel unsafe speaking about their experiences. I'm a strong woman. Your ass wasn't strong enough to deal with your ex-husband. I mean, so here you are lying. I'm a strong woman who survived. You can't shame me. I don't have to shame you, darling. You done did enough and said enough to shame yourself. I'm just talking about it. And I'm talking about it because you put it out in the public sphere. So don't be acting like a victim, gal. You're exactly the type of man the author is talking about. See, that right there, gal, that right there is how women keep ending up over and over and over and over in these situations. Because gals like this woman, not all, but most seem to think that they can just divine so much information about a man's character on just a little very, very shallow surface level of engagement with him. So now she can tell me based on one Facebook comment I made that I'm exactly the type of man the author is talking about. I feel sorry for your wife. She married an abusive clown. Yeah. Yep. You feel sorry for my wife because she married an abusive clown. You're right. She married an abusive clown that's been with her for 37 years, produced and raised 5 children with her, and has built a very comfortable life with her. Yeah. Yep. And trust me, if you don't like what I have to say about this situation, you damn sure won't like what Deidre Snyder has to say about it. Because I am actually the nicer, more diplomatic, gentle person in this marriage. And you can criticize all you want about that, darling, but my wife's not on Facebook whining, crying, and complaining about how she was just mistreated by her ex-husband and there wasn't none of these big, strong, manly men around me that would help me in any way except for my late father. She's not doing that. I mean, up until about a year ago, she was working at an oil refinery, earning a solid 6-figure income. Wonder how she did that. Being married to an abusive clown. Nope. At the end of the day, Mrs. Maya Ellis, you're either a grown adult woman capable of making your grown adult decisions, which includes living with the results of and taking responsibility for the results of your grown adult decisions, or you're a child and you need some system of guardianship to take care of you with the legal power to make your relationship decisions for you. Because it is unreasonable to think that men, just by virtue of our penises, are somehow or another your eternally indentured servants to run around behind you, rescuing you from the lousy, low-down, good-for-nothing scoundrels that you insist on screwing. That's just the bottom line, Miss Maya Ellis, and I'm Dane.